Welcome to Daxue Talks, a show powered by Daxue Consulting, a China-based strategic market research company founded in 2010.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aurelien Rigart. I'm the co-founder and vice president of IT Consultis. I'm from France. I've been in China and started this adventure 9 years ago. So IT Consultis is a digital transformation company with a team of 80 people in 3 countries, which are China, Singapore, and Vietnam. So we're helping Fortune 500 and fast-scaling startups to work on their digital transformation. It can range from e-commerce, from building mini programs, from building website, apps, integrating systems together, or overall work as a consultant on their digital transformation initiatives.
Have clients ever asked you to develop on the Huawei OS?
So far, never. Never, which is interesting. I'm pretty sure that it's gonna happen at some point. But I think, this is for very, very specific types of, applications. And I think marketers and brands right now, they're really focusing deeply, more on mini program or on websites, or, trying to understand what is going to be the next mini program that will make sense. Is it doing? Is it Weibo? Is it Baidu? Because Baidu as well, or Xiaomi has developed their own mini program. So I think, depending on the category, that you're working is but for us, mainly working B2B or working with brands, our types of customer, they never ask us for this.
How is the development of 5G so far in China? What do you expect as an impact of 2020?
Well, I would say 5G, is a buzzword, and clearly something that is going to, revolutionize step by step, the user experience. But what's important, so on top of the live stream, you're going to have more consumption of heavy file, video, 3D, augmented reality. So that's going to be a first step. But, when you're talking, as a brand, you still need to create those contents. So that means from one day or another, live stream is one of the disruption, but brands are not going to start creating millions of videos where they're already struggling to catch the attention of the user. So from a brand perspective, I think is going to have a very limited, evolution. The live stream, I think, is a great evolution. In the future, you're going to have AR, where you're going to have virtual shops, and you're going to have the opportunity to visit. But we have seen this over the past, and it has shown that it was not bringing the highest conversion, and that was kind of gimmicky and gadget. So are brands going to go in that direction? I don't think so too much. I think the live stream is going to be something great. And then you're going to potentially use more AR, but it's not going to touch too much about the 5G here. So I think 5G is just going to enable to download mini program much faster, to download apps much faster. But I think the 5G is going to have more stronger effect when you're talking about IoT, maybe beacons, or just opportunity to download heavy files, or when you're on specific platforms, when you want to, for example, mimic, if you're doing the app for the NBA or maybe the FIFA, then you want to create, heavy content application where it's going to be easy to display 4K videos and to promote some very specific, content. And this is where it's going to have an influence.
What are the differences in developing software in China and the rest of the world? Are the languages or programming different?
So overall, not that many differences. Of course, there's always cultural differences in terms of project management, integration, speed of development, and way to manage and to handle things. But in terms of languages, what we have seen is that we have seen a little bit an emergence of specific languages created by Chinese developer. Vue.js, for instance, is a very strong JavaScript, front end that is competing against React.js or AngularJS. React that is created by Facebook, and Angular, which is a framework that is created by Google. So I didn't follow the market trends, but basically React, Angular was started first, but then React, became the number one, and Angular the number two. And I think Vue has such, a strong community in China that it has emerged potentially as the number two. So I need to double check what are the latest figures. But this is a language that is highly appreciated by the local developers, and that has like a pretty strong quality. And it's kind of like interesting the way it's been built in order to really leverage, like the WeChat, like the different ecosystems, and even like the WeChat languages as kind of like being used in order to create it. So I think there is like very interesting things happening where we see, like the Chinese market as not like just like copying, but like innovating on like very, specific advanced technology, where we have seen like WeChat, through the mini program creating their own languages. And we see Alipay through the mini program creating their own front-end languages. So I think this is very interesting. So in terms of backend, like those like very, like backend heavy languages are kind of like very similar wherever you're looking at. And the front end has been, a little bit the changing components. And I think this is something that is very interesting. And sometimes you see that those languages are performing, even better than, like the React or the Angular that have been developed by, like a very strong community. And yet at the same time, sometimes when you're going to talk with Chinese developer, they're going to say, oh, I really prefer that languages or that language. And we've seen as well some framework has been, they have been created as well in China that have been like having like a huge adoption. Order management systems as well have been created. CRM have been created. So in terms of, like the language, the backend language itself, not too much, but the framework that have been assembled around those languages, there's a lot of very interesting ones. I know like some frameworks are competing again, like the Oracle frameworks. Some frameworks, for example, like order management system are competing against, other order management system here. Even in terms of e-commerce, like Adobe, Magento is a little bit being challenged. Although what we see is that, like brands still want to focus on like having a strong quality. On our side, we're doing a lot of Magento development, Magento integration for brands. And like when international brands are looking at very specific development, they're going to, like have, like the importance of the technology choice is going to be important. And if you're working, for example, like with German, like companies, like they will want to focus a lot on SAP and so on. So I think, like the technology inheritance, from like global to local is something that is important to have a look at. But in order to reply to your question, I would say that there is an emergence right now of, Chinese languages and Chinese technology that should not be disregarded. That should be really like looking into it. And I think like if global players, like Salesforce, when they're going to come in China in 1 year down the line, they want to establish a supremacy like they're doing like in the rest of the world. It's not going to be that easy, like they really need to, like make the extra step, like in order to make it happen.
Any questions? We will find an expert to answer them. Drop your questions in the comments or send us an email, dx@dashwayconsulting.com.